Okay, good morning, everybody. 26th of August, we're talking today about cloud apps. The plan today is I will begin presenting some background about the cloud apps, some demonstrations of the cloud apps, talk about why we've done them. I will be stopping periodically, and Alicia will be translating into Chinese. And you can also ask questions at any time. If you have questions, you can ask Alicia, and she will ask me them in English, and that's how we'll do it. Alicia, would you like me to stop here and you can explain what I just said, and then we'll get started?
Yes. OK， 今天是8月26号，今天我们要说明的就是云端 APP 的这些的一些相关的背景介绍，以及我们会 demo 一些现在已经可以使用的 APP。那么Yoel会在适度的地方停下来做中文的翻译。那各位如果有任何的问题，欢迎随时跟我们询问。有需要我们翻译的话，我们也会翻译。谢谢。Yoel, please.
Okay. So before we start talking about all kinds of theories and everything about the cloud apps, let's see a real live example of a cloud app. And then we'll go back to the PowerPoint and talk a little more about the theory and what's behind the cloud apps. So the cloud apps are available only in the new user interface. I'm in the new user interface right now on my screen. They're available already now from the August release if you're in the new user interface. And the cloud apps are accessed here on the top right. There's 4 little squares together. When you click there, you see the cloud apps here. I'm going to show now this cloud app, which is called the Roll Toggler. And first, I'm going to remove it so that I can install it. So you'll see the whole process of installing a cloud app, doing a configuration, and then using it. So I'm going to right-click. I'm going to open this one. I'm going to click these 3 dots, and I'm going to delete it so that now I'll show the whole process of installing an app, configuring it, and using it. Alicia, before I do that, would you like to explain to them, please, what I'm about to do?
我们今天要先跟大家说明一下。这个云端的 App 只能够在新版的使用界面上才能够使用。那新版的使用界面已经在8月release已经出来了。那您会看到这个 Cloud App 的工具就放在右上方的那个4个方块形成的那个角的工具。那今天它会使用的第一个介绍的这个工具是角色切换工具。那大家使用他刚刚先把它做了一个移除的动作，后续再跟大家说明如何安装。那我们会先从这一个的使用方式先做说明，之后后续会再带到同影片。Yoel, please.
Okay, so I'm going to access the apps, and now I'm going to look for an app. So I'm going to the Available Apps tab, and under Available Apps, I see all of the apps which exist, but I have not yet installed. Under the Installed Apps tab, I see the ones that I have already installed. So I'll go to the Available Apps, and I can either click here and search, for example, for this Roll Toggler, or if I have them all, I can scroll through and look for it. So I'm going to install this Roll Toggler. So I'm just going to double click it, click Install, and it's already installed. It takes 1 second to install a cloud app. I don't need to put in an API key. It's already ready to use. We're going to talk later about how I can learn how to use it and what it is, but I've already installed it. Now it's ready to use. Now if I switch to the installed apps, I'll see it, and I can also open it right here. So now I've got my Roll Toggler open. The Roll Toggler, to toggle means to turn something on and off. A role refers to the permissions that a user has. Users have different roles, such as being a cataloger, acquisitions, work order operator, etc. So if I click these 3 dots, I can come into the configuration, and the role toggler changes all of the roles of a user, except for the ones I define as excluded roles. So here, for example, I'm going to add a role, which is patron. And this means when I run this, all of the roles except for patron will be toggled. They will become active or inactive. Let me show it, and then I'll stop and Alicia can explain. Let me first show how this works. So I'm going to retrieve a user. And you probably already can guess which user I will retrieve. And I've retrieved Alicia. If we look at Alicia right now, we'll see that she has a lot of roles which are all active. If I wanted to keep Alicia as a user, but suspend all of her roles, I would need to manually change each one. However, by using the role toggler, I can automatically change them. I'm going to click Deactivate Roles, the orange button. And now it says Success, Active Roles 1. The reason now it has one active role, which is patron, is because I excluded the patron from those roles which get activated and deactivated, that get toggled. If I click Activate Roles again, now all of the roles have again become active. So that's a very brief example of using of installing, configuring, and using a cloud app. Go ahead, Alicia.
这个部分呢，可以看到刚刚刚开始的动作，Yoel先去那个4个方块的云端小工具的地方，他先去看有2种分类，一个是 installed， 就是说你已经安装的 app， 另外一个是 available， 就是你可以看到，我现在你可以使用、可以查询得到的，那你可以透过直接做查询，或者是用浏览的方式选择你想要的一个云端的小工具，那你只有点选之后就可以直接安装了，全时大概只会占据1分钟左右。那这个工具呢，其实就是用来打开或关闭你现在特定特定使用者的一些身份。那刚刚Yoel做的动作呢，就是说他先设定了一个排除某些角色，那意思就是说除了这一个 row 之外的全部都要进行切换。那他做的是 patron 的这个角色，他是不会想要改的，所以当后来的下一个动作，他就是回到 Alma 原生的界面上去查询一个使用者，编辑他之后呢，那看到这个使用者身上其实很多的身份都是挂 active， 很多角色都是 active， 所以呢，他就做了一个切换。一个是启用全部，另外然后一个是启用，一个是启用。那因为这个使用者的身份全部都是 active， 所以他就是选了 deactive。那你会发觉，在这个动作做完之后 ，Alicia Chen 的这一个身份就只剩下 patron 的这个角色是在可以有被启用的状态。这是整个这个小工具的流程。Yoel, please.
Okay, so where can we learn more about the cloud apps? If we go to the Developers Network, everybody knows the Developers Network, developers Ex Libris Group.com. We have a message here announcing cloud apps. And here's an explanation of what the cloud apps do, why they've been developed, a short promotional movie. We also have an App Center. Here on the top right, the App Center lists all of the different apps that we have and has an explanation of what they do. For example, we just looked at the role toggler. Here's the role toggler here. And this, by the way, the role toggler was created by University of Minnesota. It wasn't created by Ex Libris. The advantage of the cloud apps is that the community can also create the applications. This Jeff Peterson is from University of Minnesota. We can also learn more about the cloud apps here on the top. we have the Cloud Apps. When we clicked here, the App Center on the top right, this gives all kinds of apps. Among them are the Cloud Apps. We can filter. We have add-ons, extensions, and Cloud Apps. Today, we're talking about the Cloud Apps. When I click Cloud App, now I have only the applications which are Cloud Apps, those which are accessed here. So that's where you can learn more about the Cloud Apps and even learn how to create your own. Okay, Alicia, go ahead.
我们所有的这种云端 APP 的工具，其实有2个路径可以去查询，一个就是大家常用的开发者网站。这个开发者网站刚连过去之后，可以看到它一些这个关于这个 APP 的相关介绍。那也可以看得到这个 App 其实是由明尼苏达大学的某一位同仁所制作的。那同时除了开发者网站之外，也可以到我们的APP 中心。那在这个 APP 中心里面呢 ，Cloud App 就是其中的一种资源。那大家透过这2个网站呢，就可以去查询这些 App 要如何的使用。同时，如果你们有兴趣开发自己的一些 App 进行分享的话，这边也都有相关的说明。Yoel, please.
Okay, thank you. Now we're going to go to the PowerPoint. We have a PowerPoint here, which you can also learn more about. I'm going to send everybody the link here. It's called Ex Libris Cloud Apps, Enabling Agility, etc. I will copy the link, and I'm going to send that in a chat to everybody. So now everybody has this, the link to the presentation. And let's take a look at just 2 slides in the presentation. But you're welcome to look at this slide on your own to see more in depth about everything. So, slide 5 and 6 we're going to look at. Why do we have the Cloud Apps? Efficiency and agile. Ex Libris can create a Cloud App, and the institutions can create a Cloud App. That means it's very quick. If an institution wants to go and create a Cloud App, like the example of University of Minnesota, which created the roll toggler, they can create it, they can put it up, and it's immediately available. If somebody doesn't want to use it, it doesn't appear inside their Alma, which is an advantage of if it was inside Alma, there won't be things in Alma that they never use. They would simply not install the Cloud App. So there's efficiency and agile, which are very important. It's very quick to get out there and very quick to make any changes. Then also, the Cloud Apps are very easy to search and install. We saw now that I very quickly searched for the roll toggler and then I installed it. And also, I never put in an API key to use it. When we use a Cloud App, it's not using an API key that I put in as a user. It's looking at my permissions. When I'm logged in here using a Cloud App, it's looking, which user am I? I'm now a user called Hannah Wagner. It's looking at my permissions. If I'm a user that does not have permission to update the roles of a user, then I can't use this Cloud App. Go ahead, Alicia. And if you have a question, Alicia, also ask. Go ahead and explain.
Got it. Thank you. 这边大家可以看到，就是Yoel现在分享的这个 PTT， 可以透过右方那个对话视窗里面的连接，大家都可以自行下载使用。那我们今天不会讲全部的这个 PowerPoint 的内容，大家可以看。那是原则上我们会特别去说明的，就是第5页跟第6页的部分，也就是说明为什么我们当初要去开发 Cloud App 这样子一个工具。原则上都是为了顾及在效率以及敏捷性的这2个事情上面。因为其实透过 Cloud App 的话，大家都可以直接使用这个 APP。那你可以刚刚看到那个动作就可以看到，其实我是很容易查询得到它，然后直接开启使用它。而且虽然这个 Cloud App 会用到一些 API 的功能，但是它本身却不需要任何的 API key， 它只看这个使用者的权限就可以知道你能不能够被授权使用这样子的一个云端的 App。 所以是非常的可以快速的使用，而且你不想要的时候，你也可以很快就解除安装这个功能，所以其实是可以顾及到很大的效率以及敏捷性。Yoel, please. I don't have any questions here. Thank you.
Okay, now I mentioned that all of the institutions can create the cloud apps themselves, and to see how to do that, here we are back in the developers network. And if we go to cloud apps, we see here tutorials, getting started, and the tutorials and the getting started show you how you can make your own cloud app, how you get you up and running with a sample app in no time. So here you can learn how to make the cloud app yourself, what you need, what are the prerequisites, what you need to install on your own PC while you're making this, and how to create the application, create a directory, initialize it, etc., etc. So if anybody wants to use or to make a cloud app, you can come to Cloud Apps. Here on the top, I click Cloud Apps, Getting Started, and you can learn how to make your own cloud app. Go ahead, Alicia.
所以在这个网站上面，大家可以看到，我们也会在这个页面上有一些使用教学，说明就是如何可以自行制作这样的一个云端的 App， 然后包括它所有的初始化设定等等。那各位如果有任何的问题的话，我先提醒一下，您可以直接在我们的对话视窗上面打中文也都可以的，谢谢。Please, Yoel.
Okay, now we're going to move on to demos of other cloud apps in addition to the roll toggler. So the next one I'd like to show is called Print Bib Records. Now notice, here I have suggested apps for this page. When I'm on a different page that can use the cloud apps, it tells me which ones it suggests. So right now it says roll toggler because I'm here with a user open. If I were to come, for example, to all titles and look for records with word from title Taiwan, just as an example, I'll have different suggested apps. Let that finish. Whoa. Okay. So now if I were to close this and open this, when we see this little green next to the cloud app, that means that there are suggested apps. And when I open it, now I don't have the roll toggler suggested. I have the Print Bib Records, the Alma Refine, and the Hathi Trust. And we're going to show now the print bibs. So every time I open the apps, it gives me the suggested ones appropriate for the page I'm on. When I had a user record open, it gave me roll toggler. When I have an all title search, I have these. Now, if you notice, before I go into the Print Bib Records, if you notice, part of the screen is cut off. If I close this, I see a lot more. I see the order, the edit record, the save query, the customization, and then when I open the apps, it looks like it's covering it. However, I can pin this to automatically take up the space. Here on the top, I'm clicking this pin, and then now everything adjusted. Now I see the whole screen here, and I see the apps. Everything adjusted, and everything appears on the screen. Alicia, go ahead, and then I'll demonstrate the Print Bib Records.
OK， 这边我们说明一下啊，就是说在右方的这个云端的 App 的部分呢，在不同的页面，其实它会有不同推荐的 App 适用于这个页面。比如说刚开始他刚进去的时候，他点开这个已安装的 App 里面，其实只有一个 suggested 的建议 App。但是他刚刚做了一个搜寻之后，那他后来看，你可以看到他在右边的那个4个框框的那个位置，其实有多一个小小的绿灯的一个标志，那代表说在这个页面上我们有推荐的 App。 所以呢，点选进去之后会发觉，在这个页面上其实有3个相关的 App， 你们都可以去使用。那另外来讲的话，下一个动作是看到，其实我们在使用这个功能的时候，有部分的一个 Alma 的主页面有被切掉的话，切掉的状况。所以如果这个Cloud App 是你们常用的话，其实你可以按右上角的那个钉子做钉选的动作。钉选之后呢，你就会发觉这个 Alma 的画面就会被往左边推，但是这不会切除到任何的功能。Yoel, please.
Okay. So now we're going to do the print Bib Records. I'll click the print Bib Records. And now we see all of the records that have been retrieved. I have an option to print them. Let's see how it prints and why it prints the way it does. So I'll take, for example, the first one, the Aborigines of Taiwan, and I'll take Acting Otherwise, the electronic resource, and I'll take one more, Advances in Cryptology. That sounds like an interesting one. Okay. Now, I'll print the records, and now it looks like this. It opened up a new tab, and I have a column format of records that I can print. From here, I would just print it. It opens up a new tab in the browser, and then I can print it. Now, why did it come in this format where I have the MMS ID, the author, the title, the publisher, the system number? Because there's various formats which can be chosen. I'm going to click these 3 dots again, come into the configuration, and here we see that there are 3 different types of formats. So I had just chosen the columnar format. So I see everything in columns. However, if I choose this one, the Slim 2, then it shows me the format that would look like. That includes all of the fields, all of the major fields, and gives their name, the name of the field. So now I'm choosing a different format. Instead of the columnar, I'm choosing the Slim 2. I'll save that. So that's saved. I'll go back. Let's do a slightly different search. This time I'll say physical titles. Physical titles, and let's say China. Okay. Let that spin around a little more. Okay. So now I can take records from here, and I'll take this one, for example, and I'll take this one, for example, and I'll take the China Economist. And it gives me a preview on the bottom of the last chosen record, so I know if that's really what I want to be printing. Now I'll say print 3 records. And now I've got my first record, the MMS ID, the leader, the Library of Congress number. It's the name of each field and then the contents of the field. Then we've got a dark line here, then starts the second letter. Now notice the leader is broken down into the different parts of the leader. And again, all of the different fields, and then the third record. The Library of Congress control number, the title, the publication, the dates, etc., etc. So that's the second format. And then there's one other format. I'll come into the configuration. This is a brand new one, by the way, the citation format. We'll save the citation format. And now, if we were to print in the citation format, we'll again take China Reconstructs, we'll take Free China, and we'll take China Economist. Now print 3 records. Now we've got them in a citation format. So that's the print Bib Records. Go ahead, Alicia.
所以我们现在在介绍的这个云端的工具呢，其实它的主要功能就是用作列印书目资讯的这样的一个工作。那它刚刚总共其实这个小工具其实它可以让你们印制3种不同的格式。那刚刚它展示的第一种是它的初选值预设值，也就是它选了3本之后呢，那去按了列印之后看到的其实是一个表格化的资讯。那后续呢，他又再去进行一个设定，他在这个云端的 App 里面去进行了一个设定之后呢，就是我们常常在 Alma 看到的那个3个点，那就发觉到有第2种，就是用 Mark 格式的。那我们也看到中间第2个一个选项就是有一个 Mark， 那它其实在云端 App 的最下面都有一个预览的模式。那当然你也可以直接按那个 print 列印之后呢，就可以看到它真正印出来的样子。那最后一种呢，就是我们常见的引文格式。那刚刚列印之后，它也变得更加精简了。总之就有这3种的一种的选项可以选。Yoel, please.
Okay, now we're going to go to the Libstick. Libstick, I know that the China institutions use Libstick. Libstick is developed also by an institution. It was made by the Technion, which is one of the Alma institutions in the world. It was not made by Ex Libris. By the way, the print Bib Records here was made by Ex Libris. The roll toggler was made by University of Minnesota. And now we're going to look at the Libstick. Or anyone on the call now from China, I'm sure is familiar with the Libstick. Alicia, ask who uses Libstick to raise their hand. I'm going to look at the participants. Let's see who's using it, because I know there's a lot in China using it.
就我们这边所知是有大部分的中国的用户都是使用 Libstick。想请问现场今天有参加这个研讨会的就是同道们，有没有人现在已经在用 Libstick？ 可以举个手吗？或者是留个话给Yoel？没有吗？
Okay, I don't see anyone raising their hand, but I know it's used in China. Okay, we're going to show it anyway. So it used to be that the Libstick worked as a browser extension. There was an extension inside the browser. Now there's a cloud app, which we're going to see is a lot easier to use. So if I come now and do a physical item search, I'll say physical items, and I'll say that I want everything with creator Sandberg, Sheryl Sandberg even. And this is used to print barcodes, the barcodes that go inside an item, and the barcodes, the labels that go on the side of an item. Just to show what I'm talking about, I'll bring a little example here. It's used to print these labels here that go on a book, and it's used to print these labels here that go on a book. The barcode, and then it usually contains the author, the subject, something like that. So that's what we're going to look at now. So here it says print in Libstick. If I click now, print in Libstick, I'm going to click it. It opens up a new tab here, and it starts printing the barcodes. So now I have the barcodes for those items that I searched. I can also, for example, make a set. I can say, first of all, I'm going to click this pin here. So now I see my screen nicely. I can say, for example, that I want to get the physical items. I did an advanced search, and I'm going to say that I want the date for the physical item. So I'll say the physical item creation date is after, and I'll say everything in the last whatever, the last week, the last month, whatever it might be. Search, because when I'm printing barcodes, I'll want to print them according to what was created from a certain time. If I can now do print in Libstick here and print these 28 items, or I can save this as a set. And I can also print from the set. I will call this Cloud App for Chinese Speaking Set. Okay. Now, anytime I access this set, I can also print to Lipstick. So if I say admin, manage sets, and I go to that set here, and I do results, or I do members, or edit, here I can also do the print in Lipstick, and now it's going to print all of those. Here I am. It's got 20 items, and it's loading them, and it will print the 20 labels. Let's let that finish so we can see, and then we'll look at a little more. And 20. So here we've got all 20 labels, and we were able to do it by items that were created after a certain date. Now, regarding the Lipstick, and actually regarding a lot of the cloud apps, let me stop here before we go too long. Go ahead, Alicia, before I continue.
OK， 这边稍微再补充说明一下，现在的这个 Lipstick 其实也是由其他的单位去做开发的。那在前面一个的那个列印书目资讯，那个则是由 Ex Libris 去进行开发，所以其实可以有不同的开发者。那刚刚我们展示的这一个Lipstick 呢，其实它主要就是进行书标的列印。刚刚Yoel也有拿了一本书展示给大家看看，书标就是大家看到的那个书标，主要是进行条码号的列印。那在这个工具使用的时候，它其实都会开启新的视窗到 Lipstick 那边，然后让大家知道一下。那我们可以看到Yoel做的一个动作呢，其实你可以选取一本书进行列印。那当然你也可以就是一次选取多本书再列印。那后来呢，Yoel做了一个动作，就是它是直接产生一个资料集。那针对这个资料集呢，查询的结果，比如说您可以直接去选取我们比如说从上周所产生的这种的单册物件，然后呢直接列印，或者您也可以在选择做好这个资料集之后呢，储存下来。那一样，我们用我们平常资料集的一个使用方法，我们到管理资料集的地方，选择那个资料集之后再列印也是可以的。所以有各种不同的书包列印的方式。Yoel, please.
Thank you. Okay, so in addition to the developers network that I had showed a little while ago, in addition to, let me just move my browser down a bit, in addition to being on the developers network here and going into the cloud apps here and announcing the cloud apps, there are blogs about cloud apps. And for example, the first one you see here is how to install and use the Roll Toggler Cloud app. There's also ones about using Lipstick to print labels in Alma, how to install and use the Print in Lipstick app. So here, if you're interested, are full directions, how to install it, how to use it, everything that we did now. And there's more advanced ones, how to configure those labels. The labels that we have here with, for example, the title, then the barcode that can be scanned, then the number barcode, and then the on top in the middle, the logo. In order to configure this, maybe you want to put the author, maybe you don't want the title, maybe you want the call number. So the directions for doing all of that is here, how to set up all the labels. So you've also got these blogs in addition to everything I saw. And when you're in one of these blogs, there's a link to a tag called Cloud Apps. And everything that I'm showing now, we have here, how to install the printed Lipstick, how to install and use the Roll Toggler, how to install and use the print Bib Records, and two more that we're going to use right now is the Hathy Trust and the Alma Refine. Okay. Before I go into the Hathy Trust, Alicia, go ahead.
那我们刚刚有看到，现在我们在这个网站上面呢，其实我们有相当详尽的资料。以现在分享的这个 share 这个部落格为例，你可以看到我们使用 Libris 的一个方式，它的操作手册怎么去使用它，包含怎么设计书标，其实这边都有非常详尽的说明。那刚刚Yoel在他的那个 Libris 的那一个文件上面呢，同时他也有点到，就是其中有一个标签叫做 Cloud App。其实你在点选那个 Cloud App 的标签之后呢，就会看到所有跟 Cloud App 有关的这种部落格文件都可以直接进行参考。那我们后续还会再介绍2个这种工具。Yoel, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to show the Hathy Trust. Hathy Trust, for those who aren't familiar with it, is an organization that institutions publish their records to, and then they're scanned and they become available there. That's on a very high level. Even if the community that I'm talking to now, the Chinese-speaking community, does not use Hathy Trust, I'm going to show this because the same type of method can be used for other organizations in addition to Hathy Trust. So let's take a look. If I do here an all title search, or a physical title search even, let's first get the Hathy Trust one open. So I'm clicking again, and here we have Hathy Trust. Hathy Trust availability. And I come to physical titles. And for example, if I were to search history. Okay, so for each of these records, it's now going and seeing, is this record available in Hathy Trust? And if so, is it a full record or a limited? For example, photo history, Jewish history, and Slovakia in history, it says no Hathy Trust record found. For history in Lengzan-shi, it says availability limited. And for other ones, such as Aboriginal history and East Asian history, it says availability full. And if I click the link to this Hathy Trust, I'm going to click the Hathy Trust record. A new tab opens and goes directly to that record in Hathy Trust. And then I can come and view the record here in Hathy Trust. It's a way for institutions to know which of their records are available in Hathy Trust. And like I said at the beginning, now I can come and read the record here. Like I said at the beginning, even if you are not using Hathy Trust, if there is an organization that you're publishing to, and you want to know if the record that's on the screen in Alma is available in that organization, the same method can be used to develop another app in order to do that. Let's do one more example. Let's say this time physical titles Taiwan. I don't know if anything is available in Hathy Trust here. We're just going to give it a little shot here and see. Okay, so now it's checking a whole new, so some of them are availability limited, and it looks like any of them that are available are limited. So if we go now and click here, again, we'll get the record. And if we had full access, this is a limited one, we could also view it, like we did here where we view the actual record. Okay, Alicia, go ahead.
所以这次我们介绍这云端的小工具是 Hathy Trust。那虽然它有一再强调，就也有一再强调说，也许在我们的使用中文的地方不一定常用这样子的一个工具，但原则上它的这种方式还是可以套用在其他就是其他机构或是其他有出 就是有出版或是有征集这种书目资料的机构上面，可以采用同样的机制，所以还是稍微介绍一下它的使用方式。那以这一个 App 来讲的话，它的工具呢，其实就是我在查询这样的一个书目资料的时候呢，我可以同时查看 HathiTrust 上面有没有这样的资讯。所以刚刚可以看到，就是说，比如说第一个字是下历史嘛 history 的部分呢，他看到右边有一些是我可以看到全部的资料，那有一些的使用方式可能是有点受限，但无论如何，我可以直接同时查到 HathiTrust 之后，我再连接过去看 HathiTrust 上面的相关的书目资料等等这样。Yoel, please.
Okay. Alicia, there are no questions from anybody?
请问大家有没有什么问题想问的，都可以尽管问。有需要我们解除静音的话，需要用中文说明，也可以跟我们说一声。I'm just telling everyone that they can just post the question on the chat.
Okay, so let's look at one more app, which is called Alma Refine. And Alicia, I want to make sure it's clear when I show an app, for example, the HathiTrust, and the one I'm showing now, that I'm going to show with the Alma Refine. It may be that HathiTrust is not an organization the institution works with. However, I want it to be clear that the same method which is used for HathiTrust and used for printing Bib Records that we saw, if an institution were to come and say, we like the print Bib Records, but we want a different format, or we like the HathiTrust one, but we want it to check a different site to see if our record is there, then they should let us know, because we can either modify an existing app or make a new one based on an existing one, or depending on what kind of developers they have, the institution can do it themselves. So even if they wouldn't use this HathiTrust availability, it has advantages if they also want to check, for example, an external source. Well, why don't you explain that?
Sure. 我们只是想再强调一下，就是也想强调一下，就是说，虽然 HathiTrust 可能在台湾的实用性来讲，普遍并不是太高，但是只要你们有需要类似的功能，需要跟其他的机构的提供资料的这些人，需要有做到相类似的功能呢，其实都可以让我们知道。那我们可以进一步的去了解，在大中华地区来讲的话，有哪一些资料可能是我们需要跟对方合作，可能可以透过我们这个 Cloud App 去达到这样子功能。所以就是如果有需求的话，欢迎大家还是提出来跟我们说，就是如果有希望有相类似的这种机制的话。Yoel, please.
Okay, so now we're going to look at one called Alma Refine. And let's say I wanted to learn more about Alma Refine. I'll type here Alma Refine, and we'll see if anybody wrote a cloud app about it. So here we have blogs about it. How to install and use the Alma Refine cloud app. And then there's one specifically for GND. Let's take a look. So let's leave our results here, or let's even do a different search. I will say with introductory essay by Elia Zafrani. Okay, so I've got now 2 records I'll have in a moment. Great. Now, if I look at this record, just as an example, let me get rid of this. Okay. So the first one I've got here has a 650 here with a second indicator 7 subfield 2 GND, meaning it's using the German National Authority file. And you see there's no subfield 0 there. Now, another one, I'm going to go back. The second one also has 650 second indicator 7 subfield 2 GND. No subfield 0 here. A subfield 0 is used to link directly to the record at the authority file. Neither of them have a subfield 0. If I come now with these on the screen, and I come here, it says I have 3 suggested apps. For example, again, it's not showing me the roll toggler. It's not showing me the print and lipstick because I can't use the print and lipstick or the roll toggler on these results. But as suggested apps, it's got these. I'm going to choose the Alma Refine. Now, there's different ways using this Alma Refine that we can update headings in a bibliographic record based on an authority file. So we'll come into the configuration to look at that. I'm going here to the configuration. First, I'm clicking the 3 dots here on top. Then I'm clicking the configuration. Now, I'm going to choose for GND. And I want this screen now to look bigger so I can read it better. You see here on the top, there's 2 arrows pointing outwards, which means it makes the whole thing bigger. And now I see that for GND, it's defined to use 100 subfield A and 650 subfield A. When subfield 2, it says here subfield 2, when it's GND. So let's see now what's going to happen. Now I've got this a little smaller. I'm going to pin it. And let me just move this so I can see everything. And now I'm going to run it. I'm going to run the app. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to work on the 2 displayed records. Choose GND. These are the 4 different vocabularies now that the Alma Refine works with. If you have another vocabulary, you can let us know, and we can perhaps add it. I'm going to choose GND and say begin refining. Okay, I'm going to make this larger again so I can read it. I'm clicking the arrows here that go outwards. And now I'm going to say, for example, this says the science of engineering in German. So I'm going to take that and choose that as a refinement. And then I have things about the computer industry here. I'm also going to choose those and say save. So now it's doing the refine. And it says successfully updated 2 records. Let's see what happened. I'm going to make this smaller again. Now the 2 arrows are pointing inwards. Let's see what happened. Now if we open up these same records, we see that it added the subfield 0 here. This one added for computer industry, it added automatically a subfield 0 with a link to that heading. If we go look at that heading, I'm going to put in that URL. It's now going to GND, the German National Authority, to that record here, to the computer industry. So it automatically did a lookup, found the heading in the GND, and gave the URL. Another example. I'm going to go back to Alma now. Okay. And I'll take different records. If I say here, lean in woman work, will to lead. Okay. So here, I'm going to take the first one. First one has Sheryl Sandberg. She's the author with nothing else in it. I'm going to say displayed records, begin refining. I'll make this larger with the 2 arrows. And now I'll say Sheryl Sandberg. I'm going to update now this author, save. And successfully updated. Let's take a look. I'm going to refresh right now. Again, there's no subfield 0. We're going to go back and look at it again. And now we see that this subfield 0 is added. Let's take a look. If I put in this URL, it automatically brings me to Sheryl Sandberg. And again, the important thing here is I know that in the Chinese-speaking community, you do not use GND, but there are other authorities here that can be used, the Getty, the Wikidata, the GeoNames, and whichever ones you are using could also be added here if you wanted to add the URL to subfield 0. Go ahead, Alicia.
那我们这边展示的是一个 Alma 内部资料的优化的小工具。那这边我们可以看到，目前我们所支援的词汇表有我们展示的是 GND， 那其他上面还有3个我们可以支援的词汇表。那这是目前 Alma 的这一个云端工具可以支援的。所以目前线上的使用单位，如果你们有其他现在在使用的这种权威的词汇表的话，也可以跟我们联络看看。那我们会试着去看看说是否可以让Alma Refine 的这一个工具也能够支援，那还是需要大家跟我们说，我们才知道。那我们刚刚看到Yoel展示了2种使用情境，比如说他去查了2笔资料之后，发觉他的650段虽然都有指标符是7的地方，但是他其实都缺乏了芬兰0的资讯，所以其实他到了那个 Alma Refine 工具里面去设定了这样子的条件，告诉 Alma 说。我其实遇到这样的状况的时候，我希望你把我里面的书目资料进行优化，我需要加上 URL 的资讯，那你把它设定。那你刚刚也有看到，Yoel其实觉得这样子的一个设定画面有一点小，所以他对于这个小工具进行了一个展开的动作。展开就是看到上面那个云端的 App 里面有看到一个往外打开的那个2个小箭头，你们就可以开展那个画面，那去进行所有相关的设定。那我们刚刚看到的第一个情境，它用完之后，其实我们所更改的那2笔书目资料，后来都被新增了这样子的一个 URL 的资讯。那Yoel也有到 GND 的网站上面去映照说，其实对我们遇到那个权威词的时候，它 URL 就是那一个。那当然他刚刚还有用另外一个增加另外一个 URI 的是作者段。抱歉，应该翻译成 URI。Yoel, I'm done, please.
Okay, I'm going to answer a question which was asked okay. Let me answer a question which was asked inside the Q&A. Somebody asked if it's possible with this Alma Refine to also update a community record. Oh. The way the cloud app works is it works according to the permissions of the logged in user, the user who is logged in here. So whatever this user can do in Alma, he can do it via the cloud apps. Like I said with the role toggler and the user, if my roles do not allow me to access a user and change his roles and privileges, then I wouldn't be able to use the role toggler. So as far as can this work on updating a community zone record, if I have permissions to update a community zone record, then yes, I can make the change. Let me just give it a try here, just for the fun. So I'm going to say title, Lean in Woman Work Will to Lead. That's a popular one. And this time I'm going to look for it in the community. Oh, I already got the community right there. And if we don't have this in the community, we'll take a different one.
I'll translate in the meanwhile. Oh, please.
And we'll look at this one. So now I'm looking at a community record. This community record does not have a subfield 0 in the 100. I'm going to begin refining on the displayed record. And I'm going to make this a little larger. Okay, so I don't have permission to update that record. Therefore, I can't do anything here. It works according to whatever permissions the user has. We saw when I was in the, you see here, I don't have an edit link. That means I can't edit this record anyway. There's nothing here saying edit. I can copy it. I can do different things, but I can't edit it. So because I can't edit the record in Alma, I also can't edit the record via the Alma Refine. It's the same roles that the user has in Alma, he has via the Cloud Apps. Somebody sent in another question.
Can I answer? Can I just say that you're Yeah, please. 刚刚是有一个线上同仁问说，请问是否可以更新 Community Zone 里面的书目资料？那原则上，我们这个云端的工具的使用权限是根据你现在这个使用者登录的使用者的权限去做设定的。所以，如果你的权限是可以更改我们 Community Zone Record， 那你就是可以更改，不行就不行。所以他刚刚就做了一个抓了其中一个书目，他根本没有编辑的权限，所以他当然打开这个工具的时候，他其实也没有办法做任何的事情。Yoel, do you see the question?
Yes. Okay. So another question, and I know we have frequently asked questions here. I'm going to show in a moment. The cloud apps use APIs, even though you don't put it in API key. The APIs that are used do not count towards your total amount of API keys that you have allotted per day. It does not count towards. Let me put it in writing just so it's clear to everybody. One moment, let me open something up that I can write in Word.
So, should I translate?
Hold on, I'm going to answer it here, Alicia, and then, because this is an important question, just so you can see the answer. And everybody will see the question, blank document. Okay, other language. Okay. And the answer is no. The Cloud app uses APIs keys, but it does not count towards the daily limit of your API use. Does not count towards it. Go ahead, Alicia.
所以刚刚那个问题的中文大家有看到，虽然呢这个 Cloud App 会使用到 API Key， 但是它不会去计算到目前各个机构所要使用 API 的这个取用次数限制，不会，所以不用担心。Dump, Yoel, please.
Okay, and that's a good opportunity for me to point out here that we added under this configuring cloud apps in the online help, there's a frequently asked questions section. Let me send this out also to everybody so you'll have it. I'll send this to everyone. Did that get sent?
Yes, I see it.
You got it?
Yes.
Okay. So here we have these frequently asked questions, and I believe here it's also asked, it does not count towards your total number of APIs you can use. Anything else, Alicia?
I don't see. 请问大家有其他的问题吗？然后这个是我们的常见问题的页面，大家也可以参考看看。请问还有问题吗？Did you see the? Did you see the? Oh, oh, okay. Okay. Yoel, I don't see any other question coming in.
Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Oh, we're at 9:29 anyway. We're at the end of the session in any case. So thanks, everybody, for joining. I will send Alicia the recording link, and she can send the recording to everybody. Alicia, thank you for your translations, and we'll see you in the next session. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Yoel. Bye-bye.